Just a Stats, Reggie Johnson, Eugene Warren coming to you from the lovely city of Atlanta, Georgia. And Eugene, we have to discuss this disastrous Trey Lance trade. Thank you for watching, listening, wherever you may be doing so. And, this is an absolute disaster. So let's pull it up on the screen for the people here because we have a tweet that really settles a good bit of how disastrous this is. And then we'll
really
kind of
does.
talk our audience through it here. Let's go full screen on that so they can make that a little bit clearer for them. So for the podcast audience that cannot see what we have on the screen here, this is a Bill Barnwell tweet. And I actually saw this on Sports Illustrated, SI.com. And it states the 49ers moved up from 12 to 3 to draft Trey Lance. In return, Miami moved to 6 and got Jalen Waddle. Philly moved down to 10, took Devontae Smith. And Dallas drafted Micah Parsons at 12 with the original spot that the 49ers would have been in. And if you thought that was it, it's not it. Miami then used the 2022 first round pick that they got with 4 other selections to get Tyreek Hill. And they used the 2023 pick that they acquired in that trade and went and got Bradley Chubb from the Broncos. So if you look at all the players involved here, Eugene, look at all the players involved here. So in that, when you're trading down when you're trading down to where you traded to, so you're always going to look at these drafts as if who was drafted after where you traded down to. So let's say you trade down to 3. I think the same situation happened with the Bears with Trubisky years ago when they traded down to Trubisky and all these great quarterbacks went after him. They traded down to 3 and Miami got Jalen Waddle at 6. Philly got Devontae Smith at 10. And Dallas got Micah Parsons at 12. The original pick. All better players than Trey Lance at this point because they're actually playing the games. Micah Parsons on a Hall of Fame trajectory right now. So before we dive deep into the 49ers, what may have went wrong there, what is your general thoughts on that right there? Let that sit with the audience.
Hey, you just nailed it. I mean, look, all those guys are playing. All those guys, one's on a team that is projected is, maybe could be a Super Bowl favorite than the Dolphins. One's gone to a Super Bowl when Devontae Smith and Parsons. And I'm looking at it too. Just imagine if San Francisco stayed at 12 and drafted Micah. I was looking at when they drafted Bosa. They drafted Bosa in 2019. Could you imagine those two guys together?
Bosa, Micah Parsons and Bosa on the team. What a great problem for them. Trying to figure out that money. Those are kind of contract issues you want, right? You want those contract issues to come around and figure out how are we going to pay these 2 guys. That means you have the 2 guys to pay.
Right. Yeah. And maybe that's why they were like, hey, we've got Bosa. We can move up. But yeah, you're right. And we've only seen little glimpses of Trey, and the preseason, the year prior, it looked good. That points to the Bears game, but that's all we've had. That's all we've seen. And obviously, this preseason, they weren't building a team around him. They were building a team around Purdy, and so he's not going to look good when they're just not. I don't know. It could go down as one of the worst trades of all time, unless Trey he'd have to be a starter, and he'd have to at least go to a playoffs. And I mean, and for it not to look even worse, at least win a playoff game at this point. Wouldn't you think? I mean, just to for the 49ers to just save face.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, at this particular point, I get why they moved out of him because they traded him to Dallas for a 4th rounder. Let that sit with you, right? Look at what you give up.
Right.
You give up all those picks to get a 4th round pick.
Yeah.
Not exactly a great ROI
there
for the 49ers. Now, let me tell you what the saving grace for the 49ers is, Eugene. The saving grace for the 49ers is they don't suck.
Right.
Because the 49ers don't suck, they can get through this. All they got to do is keep winning. Brock Purdy just fell into their lap. So all you got to do is keep winning here. I'm interested to see. I would like to look at Trey Lance's high school career. I'll put up his high school stats for the people so we can see how many actual games this guy has actually played. Because I don't know if he's played 40, 50 football games his entire life. I don't know if he has. I don't know if he's played 50 games of football. I know how many games did he play in college? It was like
It
3,
was
4. Like it was
yeah,
very minimal amount of games he played in college.
it was because of the COVID and all that stuff. I think so. Yeah, you're right, and that was so we. It's a very look. We all seen the tape. We all seen what he can do. Like you can look at it and go, okay, the guy has talent. There's no doubt he doesn't have talent, but that's all we've seen. We've just seen like glimpses. Like we've seen the glimpses of the college career, and then we've seen the glimpses when his pro career started. So I don't know. Is that all we're gonna get? And and then he's going to Dallas. He's gonna back up Dak, and that's not a bad one to go to because Dak's gonna probably miss a couple of games, so he'll get a chance to go in there and play. But I don't know. It's look at Dallas. I mean, kudos to them. That's a smart move on their play. They needed a good backup. They got him for a 4th rounder, like you said, and then if he plays remotely well in games he backs up Dak in, and they can truck put him out there before draft time comes, and maybe there's a team desperate to go. Maybe they'll give a 3rd rounder for him. So that'd be really interesting. It's a really
It'll
interesting
be
game.
interesting. So I think that if they don't, let's say Trey doesn't start for 2 more years, because I think putting him like he has to beat Cooper Rush and Dak this year. I think that's gonna be hard to do. So I don't think he's starting this year. I think you can take this year out of the equation. He's not starting this year.
No.
If that's the case, then let's say he has a chance 2 years from now. Let's skip this year and let's go to the year after. If he does not start that year, that means he still has to beat out. I don't imagine that Dak's not like he's 40. Dak's done, and he's got big money, right? They signed Dak for big money. I got to look at Dak's contract to see where that even makes sense for them to even attempt to bench Dak or trade him. If that's not the case, if they're not able to trade him and you're just banking on him starting, if he's not able to beat Dak or Cooper Rush or whoever may be there the year after this year, now we're going, Eugene, on about 5 years with the kid, right?
Yeah.
4 to 5 seasons of not starting. I don't know. I mean, I hesitate to call him a bust now only because we haven't seen him.
Right.
But there's a lot of bust characteristics here because you have not played and you were drafted 3rd overall.
Yeah.
I do think that there's a little taking it easy on him to a certain degree. But at the same time, I feel like if we were just being fair, anybody else drafted at 3rd that hasn't played for 3 to 4 years is not starting for your team 3 to 4 years later. That's not ideal. Because if they would have known that ahead of time, you would have never drafted him at 3rd. You would never given up all those picks, right? If you known for a fact that he wasn't going to be your starter 3, 4, or 5 years from now.
Right. Yeah. It's like you said. I mean, I know Dak's contract I know he'll be a free agent when he turns 30. I mean, I don't know if that's what their thinking is. Because
I need to see how long that is, man.
Yeah, because Trey would be a cheaper option, right? In that 5th year, you pick up that 5th year option, and because again, since they signed him in the 1st round, since he's a 1st round player, he gets you can either 5th round option him or or tag him, which I don't think they would tag him in this case. He would probably just pick up the option, but yeah, that'd be interesting. What their thought is there, because I mean, right now, I mean, Cooper Rush is good, but he doesn't have a better arm than Trey. I mean, they're obviously going to be battling for that 2nd spot, but I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Trey is at some point is promoted to to the backup over Cooper.
This year.
Yeah, I mean, why not?
That would be interesting because Cooper Rush won games for them last year, man. Some people remember the Cooper Rush situation where some people were like, "Oh, let's keep him in and not have Dak come back when he gets healthy," which is incredibly horrible, by the way. Come on, people. Let's not get crazy. I mean, Cooper, he did his job. He's a backup. His job is to come in there, hold the ship while your starter's out. So. Obviously, if San Francisco didn't even want him as a 3rd string, it's just hard for me to believe in a guy that you took 3rd and you just settled on a 4th round pick for. That means you don't have faith in this guy, especially when the guy that you have at your 1st string was injured the previous year.
Yeah.
You still had no faith in the guy.
Yeah.
When you bring in Sam Darnold has been traded, right? You still have no faith. in this guy.
Right.
It's hard to see him beating out anybody, Eugene, with stats like that. Like they've seen you in practice for years, right? You saw the situation with Jordan Love, but there's no Aaron Rodgers there in San Francisco. And with the Jordan Love situation, people were getting antsy about him after a while. Like, hey, well, does he suck or not? He's been in the league for X amount of years. You've seen him in practice. It should be time for him to take that next step. Well, Jordan Love wasn't drafted third overall.
No, he wasn't. He's the left draft.
And there was immense pressure for him to start over Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
Right? People were having this conversation when Aaron Rodgers was there. People were having this conversation.
Yep.
So for Trey, this doesn't look great. I hope things work out for this guy. I don't really know if they are. And I just want to see it. I just want to see what it looks like. Because you see glimpses. You see glimpses, man. If you squint, you see a starting quarterback. But he's going to have to be able to make that happen. And I guess only time will tell if it is. I definitely appreciate the audience joining us here. And whether it's on YouTube, TikTok, which is TikTok, people watch us way more on TikTok than YouTube. So maybe I should just start saying TikTok first, then YouTube.
Yeah.
And just demote YouTube down the line there, wherever you guys may be watching us at. I definitely appreciate it. This is Just the Stats. Check the time, I should say. Check us out. TikTok, YouTube, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you find your podcast. Can't talk today. See you next time.